Fox 2 presents Hancock and Kelley.
And good Sunday morning to you. Welcome to Hancock and Kelley on Fox 2, where we take on the top issues of the week. On the right, John Hancock.
Top of the morning.
On the left, Michael Kelley.
Good Sunday morning.
I'm Andy Banker. On the agenda, as their only televised debate looms here at Fox 2, Josh Hawley and Lucas Kunce swarm the St. Louis area in their U.S. Senate race. Ozzie Smith weighs in on Amendment 2, which could legalize sports betting in Missouri. We've got a big announcement about that. Vice President Kamala Harris sits down for an interview with Fox News. How did she stand up to the grilling? And in our quote of the week, disbelief over the struggling city of St. Louis buying a new fleet of EV Mustangs. Also, there are huge statewide issues on the ballot in Illinois, and former President Trump keeps up with campaign tradition and attends a Catholic charity dinner while VP Harris skips it. We begin with one of two big campaign announcements this morning. Fox 2 will be hosting Debate Night in Missouri, the race for U.S. Senate, on Halloween night, Thursday, October 31st at 7 o'clock. Democrat Lucas Kunce will face Republican Senator Josh Hawley in their only televised one-on-one debate, and they will square off right here in our Fox 2 studio for a live debate carried statewide. We've been seeing a lot of these two in the St. Louis area over the past week, apparently warming up for the big night with verbal attacks on each other.
He brings no money back to this state. He's more interested in writing self-help books about manhood, making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing that than taking care of us.
Here's what I think. It's time that we quit spending money on overseas wars like Ukraine. It's time that we quit spending money on sex change procedures for military members and started using it to clean up Missouri.
Though polls continue to show Hawley with a seemingly safe lead, both candidates are acting like they don't believe the polls, holding rallies with celebrities, Hawley with Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker, and right there, Kunce with St. Louis's own TV talk show host Andy Cohen. The latest campaign finance reports show Kunce has outspent Hawley. Looks like we've got a race here, John Hancock, no?
No. Hawley's going to win. I'm surprised they're doing this on Halloween. Maybe they'll come dressed up as each other. I tell you, these two guys, they kind of look alike. They're both populists. It's going to be worth viewing to see how much real separation on issues there are between these two. You know, Kunce has refused to endorse Kamala Harris for president. You know, he's really trying to appeal to disaffected Republicans, I suspect. But at the end of the day, Josh Hawley's going to win this, and he's going to win it pretty big.
One of Kunce's ads touts that I worked in the Pentagon under Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Is he trying to
I
go
think
right?
Lucas Kunce is definitely trying to be a new style Democrat, a populist as well, a lot like Josh Hawley, looks alike, sounds alike. I echo what John says. But he's run a good campaign. Voters are familiar with him. Josh Hawley, this is the state of Missouri. This is ruby red. He should be running away with this state. And the reality is he's getting outspent. Why? Because of January 6th and because of a number of things. I mean, this is the most time he's spent in Missouri. Hell, Taylor Swift has spent more time in the state of Missouri than Josh Hawley. And so I think this race is going to be close. I think it's going to be close on Election Day, and it's going to be about turnout. It's going to be tough, but anything can happen.
Maybe a Halloween debate.
It's not going to be
swings
close.
a few.
It's not going to be close. Now, this is interesting, though, because the fact that the National Democrats, the National Senatorial Committee, has not put money into the Kunce race, and Kunce has raised all this national money because he's running against Hawley. But the fact that the National Democrats aren't in is the reason why Kunce cannot endorse Kamala Harris. They would have so much pressure on him to do that if they were funding this thing, but they're not, and so he's got some freedom there.
We've got another big announcement about another hotly contested issue in Missouri. This Thursday night at 6:30, I will be hosting a 30-minute Your Local Election Headquarters campaign special, Amendment 2, Sports Betting in Missouri. A new ad featuring Cardinals Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith is now dominating local airwaves. Ozzie is urging people to vote yes to legalize sports gaming. The latest quarterly campaign finance reports show the Vote No effort has raised more than $14 million, but Vote Yes has raised more than twice that, $30 million plus. Also, the Vote No forces are actually canceling ad buys now. Is Ozzie Smith the closer here, Mike?
Well, this is a really good ad, and this is the message I think this campaign should have had for quite some time. It was all about education, and look, whenever there's funded opposition, That's problematic. This is helpful that the opposition has dropped their campaign. There's no longer going to be those commercials saying that, hey, this isn't going to education or whatever other things they were alleging. It will be a one-sided conversation from now to Election Day. I think the lingering question is, what has the last month of those ads done, and has it done damage that they'll be unable to overcome?
The vote no ads.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it's helpful to the pro-Amendment 2 side that the Harrah's and the other casinos have pulled back. It looks like Amendment 2 is going to spend about $7 million more the last 2 weeks. That may be enough to get it over the top. This Ozzie Smith ad is very effective. And, you know, the Wizard, man, they're doing
Does it play well across the state? Kansas City, where not everyone's a Cardinal fan?
Well, it certainly helps in St. Louis. Ozzie's not disliked in Kansas City. Maybe they're going to find a George Brett vehicle to do something in the Kansas City market.
Starting Tuesday, you'll be able to vote early on Amendment 2, the Senate race, and everything else in Missouri. You won't need an excuse anymore. Early voting started in Illinois more than 3 weeks ago. Election officials in both states are hoping to see record early voting turnout. Two things, John. Is that good? And what happened to Republicans' suspicions about early voting being corrupt? Or is that all a Donald Trump thing?
Well, it's mostly been driven by Donald Trump. And, you know, in the states that have had early voting historically, going back a couple of decades, Republicans have always done well in early voting and absentee voting. And in the Trump era, that's kind of flipped a little bit. We're expecting, I think, about 16% of the votes to be cast early in Missouri. I suspect that number is going to grow over time when people, especially the length of this ballot, it's going to take folks a while to get through it.
40 plus things to vote on. I plan on voting early. Does this give any advantage to one particular side or another?
Well, in the past, John's right. Several decades ago, the Republicans used to kick our keister out there as it related to early voting. And then this Donald Trump era came, and Democrats have. So I think the advantage still sits with Democrats simply because there's that lingering Trump stuff. But I expect like John says, we're going to continue to see this go. We're already seeing it. Andy, the St. Louis area is changing before our eyes. The city of St. Louis is now half the size of the votes that St. Charles County is. And we're seeing county voters in St. Charles voting 1,000 people a day early. This is going to be an exciting election as we're starting to see the reorganization of the region as well.
Yeah, high turnout.
There are huge issues on the Illinois ballot as well that may say a lot about where voters are headed when it comes to taxing the wealthy, mandatory health insurance coverage for in vitro fertilization or IVF, and civil penalties for candidates who interfere with election workers. All three are non-binding advisory-only issues, but they are among the most heated political issues sparking debate nationwide now. The Democrats' supermajority in the Illinois General Assembly not only look to these ballot issues to drive turnout this election, but also to shape their political agenda in the next few years. For instance, asking voters, November 5th, and right now for early voters, how they feel about a 3% income tax hike on people making more than $1 million a year to fund property tax cuts for everybody else. Michael, any value to these advisory votes? Is this just election year hackery to...
No, I think there's twofold strategy behind it. No doubt that those are issues that Democrats are enticed by. They're already going to come to the ballot box in Illinois and would vote for those things. Also, this allows the legislature to have these types of issues, which could be controversial, pass handily in the state of Illinois, and be able to make the case when they're raising taxes that they have a mandate of the voters.
Is that what that's about?
Yeah, it's not about turnout. You don't put things on the ballot in a presidential election to drive turnout necessarily. You do that in the off year. So yeah, they're trying to create for themselves a legislative agenda. I suspect they'll pass all three of these things in Illinois. I don't think it's very good policy, but there's not going to be any money spent against it. So they're all going to pass because they sound good. And now you're going to see
We've got a similar initiative on the Missouri ballot, which is you have to be a citizen and blah, 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 stuff that's already the law that was supposed to motivate Republicans. This is what the red and the blue states are doing. Any
impact beyond Illinois with this? You know, the old saying, will it play in Peoria?
Yeah, I think it's possible that states, especially, we're such a polarized country now, and these state legislatures Most of them are in one-party control, one party or the other. And I think you might see this kind of approach put on the ballots going forward.
We have a presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, keeps saying that she wants to fund all her ideas by taxing the wealthy, get them to pay their fair share.
Yeah, most of these ideas start on the coast. I think Illinois is trying to start its own and let it spread from the middle to the coasts.
Up next, Vice President Harris sits down for a Fox News interview, and former President Trump tries to take advantage of Harris being a no-show at a traditional campaign event. How did that go for him?